Hi, my name is Kevin Gregg. I'm a postdoc at the Centre for Sociolegal Studies at the University of Oxford, and the topic of this Pecha Kucha style presentation is achieving water efficiency in the public sector through social norms. This is part of the Endows project, where I was a work task leader on a little work task called Communities, Corporate Water and Innovation. From the very onset, it was impact-focused research, involves co-creation of knowledge, and the main outcome, and I will come back to this later, is the primer document. Water efficiency, and I'm sure you've come across these here, like a water meter, a tap aerator, educational campaigns, or some financial incentives showing you comparisons. They're usually aimed at domestic and private customers. But here I will focus on the public sector, so schools, hospitals, universities. But just to remind ourselves, what is water efficiency? Well, it's all efforts to reduce wastage of water. And we even find in the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 6, where it says substantially increase water use efficiency across all sectors, and so on. Well, the first step was the literature review, and regarding data, it was a bit or not a straightforward task to get a clear picture. You see here an example from Sutton and East Surrey Water, nicely split into the different sectors, but on average, the public sector water demand is 20%. I am sure you've seen this one. This is a classic example of a social norm. So these are value commitments shared by a group of people, or you could also say community standards developed by a group of water users in relation to efficient water use. Now, a little bit more theory behind it. You can see here the so-called ISM model. There are other models which try to explain our environmental behavior. Here we have 3 levels, so the individual, the social, and the material, where the individual is what are my values, what are my beliefs in terms of like water use, in terms of water efficiency. The social factors are like things basically around me, like my family, my colleagues, my parents. How did I learn, for example, to brush my teeth? Was the tap running? Was it not? Etc. These are like social factors. And there are material factors like rules and regulations, or the infrastructure, like plumbing, for example. We came up with 9 key themes in the end. And the first one is framing. So it is very important how information is shaped and contextualized, because that has an effect on recipients. And it's also important who conveys the message. It could be a local sports person, a local celebrity. That is really important, and it links up nicely to narratives and stories. So the ancient philosopher Plato said that those who tell the stories rule the world. So water efficiency should be linked to a wider environmental story. So, for example, the water, energy, food nexus, to convey the message. Competition. Well, it actually leverages the power of social norms. So it could be year groups in a school, it could be different departments in a hospital or in a university competing against each other. Who is the most like water-savvy department, for example? People like to know they're good, and competitions can really help with that. This also has to do with reference groups. So our behavior is guided by reference groups, so families, friends, colleagues, and what the norm is. Just have a look in your office kitchen. How are people washing their cups? Is the tap running or not? What is the norm? You are likely to copy this. The control over water is an important issue, because what the literature tells us is that there is less control over water infrastructure than, for example, like electricity. It's easy to switch off a light, but it's far more difficult to like change the plumbing of a building to make it more water efficient. But it is also important that it's not just about social norms or behavior change. It's aligning those messages and those measures with structure. So both needs to go hand in hand, and it needs to be targeted. Then this can be very successful. But it's also important to set barriers and realistic targets. There are, of course, limits to water saving. We all need water to survive, to drink, to cook, to wash. There might be religious reasons why we need water. And we need to be aware of the rebound effect. So just because we have a water-saving shower head doesn't mean we should shower longer. This also has to do with the value of water. No? And water companies, but also public sector organizations, should explore what customers or employees, what kind of values they hold towards water, and why or why not they're engaging in water-saving behavior. And the last one is data and evaluation. Well, in order to target the messages to save more water or to be more water efficiency, it's paramount to collect data, to evaluate it, and to publish it as well. As I said in the beginning, the main outcome of this research is a primer document, and you can see here some example pages. It's a very hands-on document, very easy language, not aimed at academics, but public sector organizations and also water companies. You find examples, a literature review, and it's available for download. Now, let me summarize this presentation. So first of all, enlarge the scope of water efficiency campaigns to the public sector. Second, water-saving behavior is influenced not just by individual decisions, but social and psychological drivers do play an important role. Third, it is important to tell the bigger story and to embed water efficiency into the wider discussion about environmental change, but it needs to resonate with people's existing values. And there's scope to increase water company and public sector cooperation on this issue. After all, almost 6 million people in the UK are employed in the public sector, so they could function as a role model. Thank you very much.